Rev up your engines!
Now, there's no arguing that people are stupid, but they're really getting stupid. Example, in Houston, Texas, with those port closures, the longshoremen are on strike, right? There's panic buying. They're buying bottled water and toilet paper. And the shelves, you can see the pictures, the shelves are empty in the Walmarts and the Krogers of Houston because they're panic buying. Now, this is how stupid people are. Numero uno, we don't import that much toilet paper. 90% of the toilet paper in the United States is made in the United States. We got a lot of pulp and trees and crap, right? I mean, I had a friend who made toilet paper in Niagara Falls. They're still going at it. They got a factory that makes toilet paper, right? We still make a lot of toilet paper. Why? People get this thing in their brain. Who knows, And then bottled water is my favorite, though. Okay? Yeah, I'm sure we import bottled water, whatever, right? But you got water at your house. I got a triple filtration system here in Rhode Island, right? I bottle my own water. I put them in reusable bottles and drink them when we're driving or riding bikes or whatever, right? Our water supply doesn't come from boats. Do you really need bottled water? Hey, let's face the facts. They're in those stupid little plastic bottles. And that stuff, the plastic is going to get in your system. It leaches, and I don't care what they say. You're leaching plastics into your system, and that's not a good thing. Microplastics probably end up killing half of us if we get older. Who knows what it'll do to our bodies, Some of them say it's going to clog up your arteries. Who knows, right? But bottle your own. I got a nice stainless steel container that's insulated so it stays cold, right? Get a triple filtration system. They don't cost much. Put it under your sink. Bottle your own water. You're a fool to go out and buy bottled water. You pay, a few dollars per 1,000 gallons at your house, so filter your own. Hey, people, I guess we're becoming dumber as time goes on, and Houston seems to be leading it. We got to hoard toilet paper and water for some reason. It's not a hurricane, right? It's not that the supply chain of toilet paper coming from America is going to be taken down. Most of the toilet paper's made here. Well, GM's at it with their lack of quality. They just recalled nearly 500,000 Cadillacs, Chevrolets, and GMCs. Turns out the electronic brake control software isn't going to warn you if the brake fluid gets low. You got a problem, you lose fluid, it's not going to warn you. Then you'll step on the brakes, and if there's no fluid left, you're pushing on air, and the car won't stop. As usual, they try to always say it's a software problem. Their fix, in quotes, is to reprogram the software. Now, most of the time, that never fixes the original problem, but it covers their own heinies, and then they say, oh yeah, we fixed that problem. I have seen so many cars have software reprogramming. It's done, and it didn't fix the problem in the first place. The fact that they still have a problem says, ha! If you remember Mary Barra years ago, the head of GM, she said, we're going to make billions with software. We're going to be a software company. Ha! They fired a bunch of their software people. They're not going to be the king of any kind of software at all. Their quality control is, their electronics are, now they got to recall 500,000 vehicles because, well, it might not warn you that the brake fluid's low. Covers a whole bunch of vehicles. 2023 to 24 Cadillac Escalade ESVs, 2023 Chevy Silverado, 2023 to 2024 Chevrolet Suburban, 2023 to 23 Tahoe, 23 GMC Sierra 1500s, 23 to 24 GMC Yukon. You're paying all this money. Those aren't cheap vehicles, right? If they can't make them right, maybe they should go into another business. And they say they're going to make all electric cars that we're going to buy. They can't even make the electronics in a normal car correctly. Well, the European auto giants are crapping in their pants because they may end up paying billions in fines because they can't meet their standard they wanted of people buying electric vehicles. Even in Europe, they don't want to buy electric cars. Renault said that if EV sales remain at current levels, the auto industry will have to pay $16.5 billion in financial penalties. You got to sell so many cars. If nobody buys them, they're screwed, right? One, the government will fine them $16.5 billion, and they'll be stuck with a bunch of electric cars that nobody wants to buy that they built, and they'll lose money on that too. It's a lose-lose situation. Turns out, starting in 2025, the European regulations are getting stricter and stricter, and the only thing that really can make the grade with pollution that comes out of the cars is have electric cars that don't pollute out of the car. They got a lot of coal plants and stuff in Europe, right? And they're using gas and oil to generate electricity like every place else, so the pollution just moves somewhere else. So the Europeans are getting together, the manufacturers, BMW, Ferrari, Renault, Volkswagen, and Volvo are saying the EU current rules do not account for the profound shift in the geopolitical and economic climate in recent years in Europe. People don't want to buy these expensive electric cars, even in Europe, right? And they travel a lot less mileage than we do in the United States. Countries are closer together, they have better train systems, so you go on vacation, you might take a train and then rent a car at the end, or maybe just use the buses or whatever, Uber around wherever you go, like I do when I travel places. Hey, there's nothing wrong with Uber. Go to a big city. Who the heck wants to park cars and drive in a place like, say, New York City? You take a train into the city, then you want to go someplace. Hey, you can Uber around, you can take the subway. I don't know if I'd take the subway, though. One of my fans just sent me a thing and said, Scotty, I work in New York City, but hey, I'll never ride on the subways. They're too dangerous, so I probably better to stay above ground in New York. But regardless of it all, this whole fantasy of everyone buying electric cars starting to unravel. Even in Europe. Well, Toyota's now pushing back their future manufacturing electric cars in the United States. They were supposed to start 2024. Now they said maybe 2025 or 2026, right? Because nobody's buying this stupid thing. Battery-powered cars are not the future unless there is a radical transformation in the batteries, in the infrastructure. And we all know it takes a long time to build up an infrastructure. Look how many decades it took to build a good highway system in the United States. There's no infrastructure for charging your car in masses. I just went from Rhode Island to Tennessee. I saw a few charging stations, and you know what I saw? 90% of them. Nobody was even there. Not even one car was being charged. Because people don't drive cross country with electric cars much. I saw 3 electric cars the whole trip. I saw tens of thousands of big diesel semis and cars and trucks. I saw 3 electric cars. So it just tells you, people aren't buying these things. So it's Toyota's like, why should we make them if people aren't buying them? People are buying their hybrids like no tomorrow, better gas mileage. Some get plug-in hybrids. Hey, you can buy plug-in hybrid. Like the RAV4, I got a customer with one. He says you can go to about 55 miles, including at highway speeds, on electricity alone. So you could pretend it's an electric car for 55 miles. See if you like it or not, right? You're not stuck with, I got this electric car, that's it. Run out of electricity, I'm screwed. The hybrid, you aren't. So Toyota is showing their smarts and not, so we're going to build electric cars in the United States. No, they keep pushing it forward. Well, here's no surprise. Tesla just canceled the production of their cheapest car. The cheapest Model 3, which was $39,000, they don't make them anymore. Now the cheapest one is $43,000. They kept saying, we're going to make cheaper electric cars, says Elon. Yeah, pipe dream. Old Elon dreaming again, right? Going to Mars in his cheap electric car, maybe. Let's face it, that guy just makes up stuff as he's going down the road. He's kind of like P.T. Barnum, man. Yeah, don't worry, I'm going to have a real cheap electric car out. Now he got rid of his cheapest one. Now the cheapest one's $43,000. So it's going in the opposite direction. Just like they're always saying, don't worry, electric cars, they'll get cheaper and they'll have longer range. Well, guess what? A lot of them have a shorter range because instead of using the lithium-ion batteries that cost more money, they're using lithium iron phosphate batteries. Not ion, but iron. And those batteries cost less to make, but they have a shorter range. So a lot of the cheaper ones now have less range than the older ones did. So instead of saying, oh, these electric cars are going to go further and further, a lot of them aren't. They're going less further because they're using cheaper batteries. So almost everything they're telling us about these electric cars are lies. And here's Elon, I'm going to sell cheap electric cars soon. No, he got rid of the cheapest one he had. So as I always say, don't listen to the horse manure flying out of their mouths. See where the rubber meets the road. And now his cheapest car, he's not making it anymore. Keith McCamey says, Scotty, I got a 2012 Lexus IS250 I just bought. The scanner says P0340. I don't have an engine warning light on. It runs okay. What should I do? Okay, here's the thing. That's the code for a camshaft sensor. But you just bought this car used. If you get a car, any modern car like that, and your oil gets too dirty, it will often trip codes for sensors because the oil's dirty and it messes up the data from the sensor. So my advice would be change the oil and filter, have the code reset with a scan tool that says you got a telescanner, so you can reset it, erase all the codes. And if it never comes back, it's because somebody didn't change the oil frequently enough. Not a good sign that you bought a 2012. It's a 12-year-old car that maybe didn't have the oil changed enough. My advice is take out a couple of spark plugs, see if they have carbon burned on them, because if they don't change enough, those things will burn oil. A lot of times you get codes in any modern cars. Hondas are notorious for that. And people say, oh, I changed the sensor, it didn't fix anything. No, it's because the oil was too dirty. So it's another reason why you want to change your oil filter every 5,000 miles with full synthetic oil to keep it clean, so you don't get any codes like this. Now, in your case, you said it's running perfectly fine, so I'm assuming that happened in the past, and no one erased the code. Whenever you buy a used car, there can be a million codes. I've had some cars, they'll have 56 codes, and they were all codes from the past that somebody fixed the car, but they never reset anything. Have it reset after you change the oil filter. If it doesn't come back, that's the reason it happened. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.